Hello everyone, welcome back to another Huetopian Dream video. So I've decided that this whole week I'm just going to do short little videos, just the eye looks, testing out the Huetopian Dream palette, because I was initially thinking of immediately incorporating it into my pet pairing series, but then I realized that that is not how I approach my motherships from Petmograd. I like to give my motherships from Petmograd time to shine on their own, just for me to really discover them, to play around, to see what the possibilities of the palette are on their own, and only then start incorporating them together with other palettes. I think it will be really fun to pair this palette with everything else that I have in my collection, but just for this week I want to focus on exploring the potential of Huetopian Dream on its own. You can probably already tell from what I'm wearing for which eyeshadow we're going to go for today. I want to test this flaky business over here, the bronze shade, the bronze Solaris 005, because it looks like a really fun shade, but yesterday when I was swatching it I was not able to see its full potential, because it's the kind of shade that you really need to apply over a glitter glue, otherwise you're going to experience Fallout City. So I'm going to start off the look with Shockwave, which I'm going to apply as a very faded haze here in my crease and mainly above my crease. I don't want this shadow to overtake and be too coral, so I'm going to try my best to apply it more subdued. And then I want to focus more a little bit on this shade, the Extreme Plum Noir, which I want to put through my crease and in my outer corner. Unfortunately, we're not going to use the Dusty Pink today, even though it's one of my favorites in this palette. But for the look I'm going for today, I feel like it's I'm going in a slightly different direction. So I'm taking my little fluffy, I'm taking a really huge fluffy blending brush, and like I said, I'm going to try to haze that shade around like a little warm toned halo, but without really letting it overtake my crease, because it's one of those shades that becomes neon very quickly. I'm now going to switch to a smaller crease brush. This is the, what is this one? The Lux Defined Crease from Zoeva, which you can tell has a little bit of that very strange shape here. It seems like it's a bit cut here, as if someone took scissors and just cut the top of the bristles. But it's actually a really good brush to go straight into your crease if you don't want to do that hazy, you know, blown out shade, but you still want to blend out. This is the perfect shade. This is the perfect shape of brush for that. So I'm going to take this shade and start working it into my crease together with Shockwave. And then I'm also going to build it up a little bit here into the outer part of my eye. I think this shade has the potential to look really good on its own when you blow it out in the crease actually. Maybe Shockwave was not even necessary. The more I look at this shade, the more I understand why it's called Extreme Plum Noir, because it really has a very strong plummy undertone. It's a brown for sure, but it has a very strong plummy undertone to it. Since we're doing a Petmograd look, I think it's only fitting that we test out the Intensifies Artistry wand a little bit more. I'm going to continue just to use my finger to apply the product, because yesterday it worked pretty okay. In case you were curious about the longevity of the eyeshadows over top of this, I also did not notice a difference between this product and Pixie Epoxy. My eyeshadows always last a really long time when I have a combination of my eyeshadow primer and epoxy. And this pretty much held up like epoxy did. But keep in mind, yesterday I only wore my eyeshadow for about 9 hours. And I would really like to test the wand for something like 12 to 14, which is a bit more of like a typical, you know, wear time for me. Okay, I've applied this all over the lid, and now I am going to take the tiniest bit of this shade in the outer part of the eye, a bit over Extreme Plum Noir, and then I'm going to pop this over the rest of the lid, all the way towards the inner corner. But I'm first going to take the bronze shade, which is absolutely beautiful. I feel like her metallics are a different formula now. This one feels like the neutral from Voyeuristic Vixen, and the neutral in Voyeuristic Vixen, I wanna say, is a new formula from Pat. And this feels exactly like it. going to take a different finger and going into Bronze Solaris now. And let's hope that shade... oh yes, this is so much more impactful over top of a glitter base. For sure. If you're having issues with this shade, just use a glitter glue type product. This is an absolutely beautiful shade. However, do I really think it's very different from the one in the Sublime palette? I actually don't think so. I think on the eyes, the shade from Sublime looks really similar to this. For my inner corner, I'm going to take the Skin Show, whatever it's called, Nude Ecstasy, and just highlight here with that. Oh, this is a really nice eyeshadow. I don't like all of her Skin Show shades. This one I really like. I like the tone of this shadow. The one from Divine Rose 2 is a beautiful duochrome, but it's too deep for me, for my inner corners, so I can't really use it to highlight. And this one is perfect. Now I'm thinking if I want to add a little bit of one of the party shades, so I think what I'm going to do is take Astral Venusian Orchid over here, and I'm not going to use the wand, because you could theoretically go over top of the area that you would like to apply the Venusian Red, the Venusian Orchid shade, and just apply that over the wand. But I feel like it will overtake the look too much. I want the Astral shade to be more of like that interesting sparkle rather than full opacity. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and I'm going to pop that right here into the center of the lid. Whoa, that's a real party. And as you can see, it grips onto the eyeshadows underneath quite well, so you don't necessarily need to apply the wand, but you could play around with that if you wanted to. On my lower lash line, I'm going to dip back into the Extreme Plum Noir shade and just blend it here onto my lower lash line. I think I don't really want to make this look more complex than it needs to be. And now, just for a bit of funsies, I'm going to go back into the Venusian Orchid shade and apply a tiny bit of that using my little pencil brush here, right here on the lower part of the lower lash line, on the very inner portion, right here, and drag it a bit over the Extreme Plum Noir shade. Really pretty look. I really like how it turned out. I love the complexity that the Venusian Orchid shade added to the bronzy shade underneath it. With that said, I also want to be brutally honest with you. I think you can achieve a really similar look if you have the Mothership 2 Sublime palette, because there is a brown in there which actually has a similarly plummy tone to it. It's just a much deeper shade, so it is more difficult to work with and blend out, but you can mix it in with some of like the satin shades around to tone it down for your crease. Like I said, I feel like if you put this bronze shade next to the one from Sublime like this over a glitter glue, they will be almost indistinguishable from each other. I think the one from Sublime is just slightly more vibrant in its honey tones, but it's a very subtle difference in the hue. But then again, maybe you don't have the Sublime palette, because not all of us collect all of Pat McGrath's palettes, although I think like 90% of you do. But okay. But anyway, I just wanted to throw this information out there in case someone finds it interesting and useful to them. I'm going to keep this short and sweet, just the eye look. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to see each other probably tomorrow or the day after for another look with the Huetopian Dream palette. I know that I haven't really done anything with the party shade over here all over my lid. The only reason I've been avoiding doing that is because I feel like everybody else who did a look with this eyeshadow palette on YouTube has already done that look, and even I feel oversaturated with seeing that look, so I thought let me start with something a little bit different. It looks great. I'm definitely going to do a look with it at some point, but I wanted to test out the rest of the shades first because I already know this shade in a way. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about this look, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!